Nigeria to benefit from the cheap gas that is coming in from Tanzania. But it's not only Kenya. Africa's economy also is set to flourish if small and medium enterprises access credit and scale their businesses to improve income as well as employment opportunities in the continent. Experts speaking during the Investment in Africa conference in London, England, say despite MSMEs being the mainstay of the continent's economy, they remain highly underfunded. Betty Kiptum has that story.
Micro, small and medium enterprises make up the highest percentage of businesses on the African continent and provide an estimated 80% of employment across the continent. The MSME sector, however, remains largely underbanked and struggles to access credit as it is considered high risk.
If the banking sector was providing as much credit, as much loans to the real economy as it should or other parts of the world are doing, then we'd have an extra 1.6 trillion of private credit to the real economy. Or put that differently, that's loans to individuals, be that mortgages or car loans. And that's loans, which is what we're focused on, loans to micro-entrepreneurs and loans to SMEs. So we think the bulk of that credit gap is those segments which are very poorly covered.
Verdant Capital's Managing Director Edmund Higenbottam says inclusive financial institutions that focus on the MSME sector ought to leverage financial technology trends that the continent has witnessed over the past decade to close the credit gap.
What we've seen in the last 10 years, the last 15 years, is very significant changes in technology in the financial sector. Mobile wallets, mobile money, how data is aggregated, how data is handled and analyzed. And that's the ecosystem on which creates a very significant opportunity to intermediate for lenders on the ground to create loans to small businesses, to micro-entrepreneurs, to other types of small borrowers.
The International Monetary Fund projects Africa's working age population will have grown by 30% in the next 5 years. Experts say the African Continental Free Trade Area is the gateway to Africa's prosperity. The United Kingdom says trade barriers ought to be eliminated to foster intra-African trade that currently stands at a low 15%.
The envisioned trade area will connect 1.3 billion people and economies with a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion through a single set of trading rules. This could boost intra-African trade by over 50% and in itself lift an estimated 100 million people out of poverty. To help achieve this and to reduce costs for consumers and businesses in Africa and the UK, we need to remove trade barriers. That is why, since the UK left the EU, we have signed no fewer than 9 trade agreements covering 18 African nations.
As the bloodline of Africa's economy, MSMEs ought to be supported to scale their businesses so as to ensure the economy grows fast enough to support the ballooning population.
Well, we see micro-entrepreneurs and SMEs as the engine of growth in the African economy. We don't see the public sector as growing. We don't see the resources sector, oils and mining, while that can contribute towards GDP, we see that as having a limited impact on domestic employment and domestic livelihoods. So we see micro-entrepreneurs and we see SMEs as critical in driving the development agenda.
The Investing in Africa conference brings together investors, financial institutions, as well as business persons seeking investments. Betty Kiptum, Prime Edition.